Hi, this is Paranormal Extraction, and I'm Zoe Starr, and welcome to my show. Today we have on scientist Danny talking about extraterrestrial advanced technology. So all of you out there that are very scientific, you are going to love this show. So we're going to go over and start and talk to Danny. Hey, Danny. Oh my God, I'm so happy that you're on today. And I know that your history is a scientist at NASA and a lot of other places. And we have spoken many, many times. And actually, we've become friends because your education that you have given me about UFOs and UAPs and other things have really helped me in interviewing others. So today, even though sometimes it's hard for me to understand the science of what you're talking about, I'm just going to let you talk about it because there's a lot of people that are on about, they want to hear more about the science. And when I sent the ad out of you, there were many people that responded to it and said, I can't wait for the show. So they're really interested in hearing obviously, about the science. So let's go ahead and start and talk about, interdimensional beings. I mean, what are we going with today? I mean, I know I gave a title, but
I'm going to explain how the alien technology works.
Oh, yes, yes. Okay.
When you look at all those UFO videos, nighttime videos, daytime videos, and when I talk to the eyewitnesses, they don't hear no sound, and these things are flying through Earth's atmosphere without wings, without the propulsion that we know of. And I've looked at 100 UFO cases, and they all have the same similarities. They all have something in common, which is energy manipulation of some sort.
Well, obviously.
And some of the eyewitnesses, one time there was a big sighting in Alaska in a rural area, and people were outside looking at it. And they said during the interviews that they felt like their insides were vibrating.
Interesting.
And a couple of UFO experiments with non-lethal laser pointers. One time there was an incident where the laser moved at a 60-degree angle. And the only thing that has the capability of doing those things would be a micro black hole.
Interesting.
On board the spacecraft. So the idea is that they're able to tap in to Earth's electromagnetic field at 110%. And the natural electromagnetic field that goes around the Earth also comes from our sun.
Absolutely.
And so we see them flying without wings, without any form of propulsion.
Sure.
Now, our form of propulsion is fuel, where it's a controlled explosion, just like an automobile. A rocket engine, the propellant is burning and the exhaust is pushing out, creating enough force for the rocket to go straight up. The same thing with a jet engine. So, in order for them to move under the ocean, in the Earth's atmosphere, and space, they would have to simulate an artificial wormhole or an artificial micro black hole in their configuration inside their ship. And by doing that, they would be able to go at incredible speeds. They would be able to go from 10,000 feet to 5 feet over the ocean in the blink of an eye. Because not only are they tapping in to the Earth's electromagnetic field, they're also connected to something much more universal. And by having a micro black hole in their control room, they would be able to move without an atmosphere, using swings, without a propellant like we do.
Okay, so what you're saying is that, I mean, if I'm getting it, is that they're using black holes, or you, and I understand about those, but you called the other one a what? A micro
wormhole.
Wormhole. Okay.
Which is basically it's basically the same thing as a micro black hole, but by using that, they would be able to go anywhere at any time.
Yeah.
You know, strange things happen when we study UFOs. There's a lot of things that are just unexplainable. But once you understand quantum physics, and once you understand how gravity works and the electromagnetic field that comes off the sun that's going around the Earth, and then the Earth's natural electromagnetic sphere, it would be a micro black hole would be the perfect way of traveling through space and time. It would be, you know, a very famous nuclear physicist once said, and quantum physicists also say this, is that for us to have, for us to travel faster than the speed of light, or the speed of light, it would take a tremendous amount of energy. Enough energy to power New York electricity for a year.
Oh my
just
God.
To travel at, just to travel at the speed of light for just a few minutes of what we know of.
Oh my God.
But they're capable of creating this micro black hole in the fuselage of their spacecraft, and they're able to have an endless amount of energy by doing that, and enough energy to travel the speed of light.
Okay, so you know what? This is so bizarre, because I'm thinking of Star Trek. I mean, you know, I'm not a Trekkie fan at all, but it kind of sounds like that. I mean, to me, because you know, I'm not a scientist or anything, you know, or I don't do that stuff. So, am I right?
Yes. Gene Roddenberry, the man who created Star Trek, he had, when he was in college, he had some friends that were scientists. And he had the talent of making it sound very real. And he would use a lot of scientific terms.
Like warp speed, right?
Yeah, yeah. You know, and sometimes in this line of work, science fact becomes stranger than any science fiction writer would be capable of imagining.
No, I know, because I've talked to you before, and I'm like, Danny, I mean, you know, when you're going off, I'm like, whoa, you know.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Creating a micro black hole would be the perfect apparatus to travel the way they do through the Earth's atmosphere from space into the ocean. Because if you notice some of the videos of when the UFO goes into the ocean, there's no water disturbance.
Yeah, you know what? You're right.
So
I didn't know. I mean, I didn't think of that until now.
So using a micro black hole for propulsion would have the perfect vibrations, the perfect field needed in order to have that effect.
Okay, so they can create those micro black holes in, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Wow.
Now, there have been some government establishments in science that have already tried to create a artificial man-made wormhole,
Yeah.
or micro black hole.
Sure.
They've, the company CERN, the people who work in Area 51, they have tried to create an artificial micro black hole. But what happens when they turn that sucker on, it can cause other side effects that would affect the human body because we can't perfect it. We don't have the technology to perfect it yet, but they do.
So that's
And
reverse technology is what they're using, or what is it? What do we?
Well, the electromagnetic field is so strong that when we try to create a micro black hole, there's a crash. We can't perfect it.
So, like, okay, so let's just say that they're working on this. Like, what happens? Does the person try to go into the black hole and then blow up? Or what happens? Or do they disappear?
No.
They disappear?
A black hole, a micro black hole the size of a dime or a quarter, would produce so much disturbance in the magnetic field that if they don't have anything that's made out of metal, if they don't have it in a secure area far away, it's going to create that field, and all those pieces of metal are going to be flying toward it, and people could get killed.
Oh my God.
An automobile would be sucked into it and crushed to the size of a teaspoon.
Okay, so that's why we haven't perfected that technology, obviously, because of that. So they're still working on that, right? Obviously. And
when we look, the James Webb Space Telescope took a picture of a massive black hole. And when you talk about a massive black hole, there's whole galaxies and stars and planets that get pulled into it and destroyed. And then there's a big stream of light coming out the other end that's pure energy. But I'm only talking about a micro black hole, a black hole that would be the size of a penny. And they would be able to control it through other forms of energy that we haven't discovered yet.
Okay, you mean to where a big ship could go through a size of a quarter? We don't get that. Is that what you're saying?
The micro black hole is inside the fuselage of the UFO, of the alien spacecraft.
Okay.
It's inside. It's inside.
Okay. Okay. I get it.
And what makes me say that the extraterrestrials would have that technology with a micro black hole is there's not too many other possibilities where they can fly without what we know of wings through the atmosphere, jet engines, what we know. And in order to explain how that would work is the perfect example would be using micro black hole technology in order to make the spacecraft move at such incredible speeds. And scientists say, oh, they're 10,000 years more advanced than we are, or they're 5,000 years more advanced than we are. No, it's much more than that.
Wow.
They are 100 million years ahead of us, because our planet Earth, it's in a Goldilocks zone. It's in the perfect spot for life. If it was a little closer to the sun, we would burn up. We wouldn't exist. If it was a little too far away from the sun, we would freeze to death. We wouldn't exist. Now, an extraterrestrial home planet, if they have the perfect amount of natural elements on their scale of elements, and they have the perfect conditions to create those elements, that's how they became more advanced than we are.
Okay, now there's a thing called Das Clock and Hitler's the Bell. Okay, obviously you know about that. So and that's a really interesting subject, which I know you know all about. But is that what he was trying to create?
Well, a lot of the German scientists at that time were being forced, literally at gunpoint, by their leader, saying that if you don't do what I want you to do, I'm going to kill you.
Right.
So they would have to use their brains and make up experiments to keep him appeased that they were working on something.
Okay.
Now the idea of the Nazi bell,
right,
which was found after the war was over.
Right. Well, it's actually, it's actual evidence.
They were trying to create a weapon by using that technology.
Right.
Their idea was to spin it so fast
yes.
that it would create such an electromagnetic disturbance that when somebody was firing guns at them, the bullets, the shells would be deflected into this, because it would have acted like a giant magnetic force.
Right. Now, how come, when we talk about I don't want to get off the subject with you, but, that happened a long time ago. Okay.
Yeah.
So that technology that they were using then, seems kind of like we would have taken a lot of that and used it, because it's not really talked about within the scientific community. Maybe it is, Danny. You're the scientist. I don't know. But it just seems like he was way ahead of his time.
His scientists were very, very intelligent. Just like today, there's a lot of advancement in Germany with their science and their technology.
Right.
They're creating things that would be the first time before everybody else catches on. And German scientists have always been some of the top scientists in the world, no matter what era. But Hitler was an extreme dictator. He told his scientists to create top secret, powerful weapons of mass destruction. And he told them that if they did not do what he commanded, he would put them in front of a firing squad and have them executed.
Right.
So in order for them to buy time.
Okay, so does that have something to do with the V2 rockets?
Well, the V2 rockets were the very, very first fuel-propelled rockets in the world. They were around in the late 1930s.
Yeah, just bizarre.
Oppenheimer was forced.
Okay, here we go again.
His life was threatened. and he was told what the Hitler wanted to create a rocket, the first intercontinental ballistic rocket, and they would fire it at England, they would fire it at France, they would fire it in Normandy. Some of them landed in the ocean and didn't hit their target, but that was the very, very first rocket engine ever.
Okay.
And they also had the very, very first jet engine.
Yeah, that's
And
interesting.
Yes, and when the war was over,
Wow.
a lot of British military intelligence officers and American intelligence officers went in there and found these jet engines. They found the rocket engines. They found Algebra.
Yeah.
They brought them to the United States, and they said, "We'll make you a U.S. citizen if you work for us."
Yeah, that's right. Yes. Yes, that is true. I mean, you can actually look through history and they'll tell you that.
And when the rocket that went to the moon in the late 1960s was designed with his help.
Right. Now, I know this is going to be weird, but do you think that the Germans are aliens?
No, they, they had different groups of people. They had different secret societies. They had different cults. And one of the cults believed in ultimately making contact with extraterrestrials.
Yeah, that's when they were going to Alaska, I think.
Yeah, well,
Antarctica.
Yes, they did a lot of secret things. They went to the North Poles. They went to the South Pole. And this cult had a saint that supposedly made contact with extraterrestrials. And that was their thing. That was their belief.
Yeah.
Now, they might have succeeded in making contact because in those days, the Germans did have very powerful radios that would pick up a lot of different frequencies. And they were always trying to create different ways of communication on the battlefield. Now, an extraterrestrial race making contact with Nazis would see that they want to use their technology to create weapons of mass destruction. They would be able to see that.
Yeah.
They would be able to read their minds and know.
Right,
that that we don't want to work for these guys.
Well, yeah, because they've stopped actually. I mean, and this is a fact. Okay, we're talking about another fact here, Danny, of missiles, U.S. missiles from going off. They've shut down facilities. UFOs have been seen flying above, and then all of a sudden everything is shut down.
Yes, in the 1960s and the early 1970s. There were cases of military installations that kept nuclear ballistic missiles, where some of the security guards had a viewing of a UFO. They had a UFO sighting.
Yeah, they did.
And something happened, and they passed out and they fell asleep in their military convoy truck. And when they woke up, they were in a little bit of trouble because their command center was trying to contact them to see what's going on. Wow. And they said there was a beam of vibrating light, and they passed out. They fell asleep. Mm-hmm. Now, when the military inspectors went to go check the radioactive isotopes, the nuclear isotopes on the tip of the missile, the radiation and the nuclear fusion levels of power were dry. Yeah. So they were able to manipulate those energies from a particle beam and draw the energy right out.
Wow. So that's definitely extraterrestrial technology
Yeah,
then
yeah.
of what they did.
And again, the perfect method in order to draw that energy, again, would be a controlled micro black hole
Wow. Okay. Again.
that would draw that energy, and they're able to draw that energy and reproduce it to use to power their their starships.
Yeah. So it's interesting because then it went back on. I don't
Yes,
understand.
just
So
like
what were they trying to do? Like, okay, they wanted to show how much power they have over us, or I mean,
well,
then the other theory is that they don't want us to use
well,
missiles, or what?
well, the bases that they have underneath our oceans, underneath our mountains,
Oh yeah, well we know that because Dee had an
under
experience with
yeah,
that one.
well, if mankind has a nuclear weapon exchange, it would affect the planet and affect them. They would also be destroyed.
Okay, wow.
Now, they're colonizing our planet underneath the ocean. I mean, you see a UFO going underneath the ocean, the first thing I'm going to think of, well, they must be based down
Okay, well that's not the only place because Phil Schneider. I mean, I don't know. I'm a big Phil Schneider fan. Okay, maybe you're not. I don't know, but there's also just basically underground facilities that are working with the government, supposedly reptilians or greys.
there.
Um, so we got these whistleblowers here. Okay. One,
Yes.
of course, we have in Area 51 on their technology on the whistleblowers. Okay. Which I
Yeah.
forgot. What is his name? The main whistleblower. I can't believe I forgot his name, Danny. Who's the main
Um,
guy? Oh, come on. He's been around since the beginning.
I
Uh,
know who you're talking about.
in Dulce, New Mexico. Okay. So he got, if we remember his name, let's please remember his name. Do you remember his name?
I am just really trying right now.
What? I can't
I'm
believe it. He's
blanking.
famous.
But Phil Snyder's from the Dulce
I
story.
know. Phil Schneider is, but
Yeah.
I can't believe I don't remember his name. He was the first whistleblower of, Area 51, but
Yeah.
he was involved in all of this advanced technology and trying to figure out what the hell's going on. And then and now he's getting threats on his life. That's the latest thing is that
But he's always been getting threats on his life.
why can't we remember his name?
He also witnessed the power source actually fire up.
Okay. You know what? This is ridiculous. I see him all the time. I post about him all the time, and I can't remember. I don't remember his name. Anyways, okay, I'm going to move on from that, but it just pisses me off. Okay, so part of that technology that he was talking about, okay, that's what they were working on too, because according to them, they did have a UFO. Okay, so they were ripping it apart, obviously, and trying to figure out, okay, how are they moving, or those kind of things. So uh, I'm not sure. I haven't listened to the actual, real deep stuff that he's talking about because it's so scientific, on the stuff that they're working on. But does he mention at all anything about these black holes or wormholes or whatever you're talking about?
Well, he used to talk about an element that they had kept safe in a facility in Groom Lake.
That's right.
And he claimed that this element, he didn't know exactly how it worked.
That's right.
Looked like it looked like mercury. It looked like liquid mercury the way he would explain it. And he would say that this element,
Yeah, element 115.
Yes.
Yeah.
Element 115. He would say that this element is so superconductive in small amounts that this is what they use to fuel their crafts.
Which we don't know anything about, Danny, or did he kind of figure that out, or did he just take off and then blow the whistle?
Every time they experimented with this element in a big bulletproof glass room in case something would happen to keep it contained, every time they turned a magnet to it, it would just scatter and spread like little droplets. And then when they turned the magnet off, it would go back together.
Wow. So the ship would actually kind of just disappear. And then
Yes.
when they turned it off, then it went back to its regular form.
Yeah, Mike.
Wow. Oh, you know what his name is? Oh, you're gonna love this. Bob Lazar.
Bob Lazar.
How could we forget that? Oh well.
I don't know.
I don't know. You and I, our minds are kind of a little out there. Yeah, Bob Lazar.
I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember his name either.
Well, I'm surprised I remembered Phil Schneider's name, because I'll tell you what, man, I think my mind is like losing it, knowing all these, losing it, you know.
Now, nanotechnology, alien nanotechnology, is used inside the cockpit of their spacecraft. Inside.
What's in nanotechnology?
Nanotechnology is little tiny microscopic robots.
Okay.
And the aliens would use this technology on the inside and the outside of their ships. And it creates a field that protects them when they're going in and out of the ocean, and through space and everything.
So nanotechnology, it's all controlled. What are they like? Controlled. They're little robots, or I don't get it. Like what? Like really teeny, or?
Oh, microscopic.
So it's
smaller, like human cells, really small.
And they're. Would you call that a robot, or would you call that?
The word nano is another way of saying small.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know. You know, Danny, I'm just gonna let you talk.
No. You're on the right track. You're on the right track.
I feel like I'm just kind of talking out my ass, but
no. You're on the right track.
I am. Wow. Yes. Okay. Well, so I'm coming through then. All right. So they have this nanotechnology, and that's what keeps them safe from what?
The nanotechnology is able to produce an electromagnetic force field around their ship.
Okay.
And inside their ship to help control the micro black hole.
Okay.
And it's hard to speak in words about this technology.
Yeah, I know, but you
because
have
it's so more advanced than what we know.
Yeah, I know.
And everything is theory. Everything is theory from quantum physics, theory about space travel. Everything is in theory right now. I'm talking about this. And to keep it understandable, some very big scientific words have to be used.
I know, and I've heard you use them, and it's like, Danny, I don't know what you're talking about. So yeah, I know. And you're making it really easy today for me to understand it, which is really
Yes.
cool because you haven't been using big words like that. But I told you before the show started, I said, Danny, if you want to use those big words, or if you want to get into whatever you want to get into this time, I want you to get into it,
Yeah.
So,
Another thing too, by being capable of using a micro black hole, they would also be able to go through different dimensions and different time zones.
time slips, interdimensional
Yes.
travel is what you're talking
Yes.
about.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So that leads into a whole different conversation on a time slip of other planets. All right. I mean, I've heard everything, on, and dimensional travel, such as, that's how Bigfoot's around. That's, that's my theory.
I'd like to show you all something.
Yeah.
I made this illustration.
Okay. So what is it?
Now the circles in between the Earths, the different Earths, represent dimensional travel. Now the Earth in the middle is ours. I call that Earth 1.
Okay.
Now the multi-universe theory and the parallel dimension theory and alternative Earths that the extraterrestrials would be able to travel through any one of them, and that's the multiverse theory of parallel dimensions.
Well,
and that's what I made this diagram to represent.
So okay,
in order to understand.
Okay, so you have Earth in the middle, and then the oblong things is them going through their mini black hole, or whatever you want to call it, into where their planet is. Is that what you mean?
They're able to go through they're able to go to all the alternate Earths, and each Earth would have a different history.
Okay, so you're saying that the planets are more like Earths, instead of like Mars being barren, it's a completely different Earth, but it's an Earth.
Because they're traveling through dimensions and parallel universes. So in each parallel universe, there's going to be a different Earth. Okay. But that's the multiverse theory.
Okay. Wow. Well, I've got my coffee as usual over here. We talked about a lot here. Okay, and we could just go on and on and on and on and on. But I think that, do you feel like we've covered everything that you wanted to cover?
Well, I have a surprise in your show today.
Okay, what is it?
There was a UFO crash site in Mexico a few years ago.
Hey, Danny, I know you're excited. There you go. Thank you.
And yeah, I'm coming down.
Okay, we're going down again. No. Good.
Okay. There was a UFO crash in Mexico a few years ago.
Sure.
And the government of Mexico is going through a bad time in their economy. And the U.S. money goes a long way down there. So I was able to purchase from a Mexican scientist secretly 3 different pieces of the crashed UFO, and these pieces are from the interior of a UFO, from the interior of an alien spacecraft. Now this is this piece right here.
What?
This piece right here shows evidence of nanotechnology.
Unbelievable.
And it's metal. It's metal.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, and then this one here is blue. It's a blue. It almost looks like blue steel from the old Western days.
Yeah, it's really funky looking. To me, it looks like a great something great I'd like in my shower walls.
Well, it's metal.
Okay. Wow.
And then we have this one, which for some reason gets picked up on the infrared, but doesn't show up too good on regular camera.
Well, actually, it looks a little iridescent.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Now, when I put a green laser on it, it reflects. When I put a green laser on this one, it reflects really powerfully.
Wow.
Now, when I put a green laser on this one, it splits apart.
This is so interesting.
Now, here is a purple laser that also gets picked up on the infrared spectrum. When I put it on that one, it just goes right through. It goes right through it. Now, when I put the purple laser on this one, it goes through it.
Yeah.
It goes completely through it.
Yeah.
Now, when I put it on this one, it splits into two.
Kind of.
Now,
it's hard to see,
now
but yeah.
when I take a red laser to this one,
yeah. Wow.
it goes through.
Yeah.
When I take a red laser to this one,
no,
it doesn't go through. It just stops. Now, the blue one that looks like a bathroom tile.
Yeah.
When I put the red laser on this one, it splits. It goes through, but it splits, which is very strange. So nothing from Earth would have this effect.
Okay, so wow, this is fantastic. So you've been able you're studying these now, obviously.
Oh yeah, I've been studying these for. It's kind of funny, but I've been studying these for a whole year.
Oh, okay, and this is the first time that you brought them on the show, so this is amazing.
Yes, it's the first time.
I really
it's the first time.
I really appreciate that, Danny. Thank you.
And I kept this. I'm only keeping this exclusively for your show.
Okay.
Everybody else can just
FO. No, Danny, I appreciate it so much, and I know it's because you and I talk so much about all of this stuff that you have brought this on. So I don't even know what to say after I've seen those. Okay, it's like,
so my goal is to prove to people that are skeptical that this UFO phenomenon is very real.
Well, this show's about hypersonic speeds, is what we're talking about, right?
Yes.
Oh my God. Well, Danny, okay, the only thing I'm going to say here, I mean, I really appreciate you bringing this stuff on. I mean, is that no one knows where you live, okay? Thank God, because of what you have, all right? I'm just, with Bob Lazar and, the things that I've heard and Phil Schneider and stuff like that, I'm glad that you're only saying it here, okay?
Well, I have nothing to hide. If somebody wants to come and knock on my door and talk about these things, they're welcome to.
Wow. Okay.
I have nothing to hide. They can take what they want.
Okay.
I have,
well, yeah, and you're also a scientist, so what are they going to do? I mean, obviously you have a place that you put these things, so nobody's, so I don't need to worry. Okay, I don't need to worry. I don't need to worry about you.
They're kept in a very safe place.
Okay.
And you know, when people see a video of a U.S. Navy aircraft carrier being sidelined by something that looks like a flying tic tac,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then you have the naval aviators in brand new F-18 Hornets,
Right.
straight out of McDonnell Douglas grounds,
Right.
and these pilots, they're not crazy. They're
Oh,
not
no, no, no.
they're not hallucinating. You know, they seem the real deal.
Yeah. So we,
So you know, people can be skeptical all they want.
yeah.
But when you see it on the news on TV that U.S. Navy aircraft carriers, and there was four events, not just two. There was four events with naval aircraft carriers and their pilots on seeing UFOs going into the ocean and flying up to 10,000 feet, waving hello to them, so to speak.
Yeah.
And none of those UFO maneuvers were threatening. They were just showing off.
Yeah. And we could get
Saying,
into
trying to
we
say,
could
hey,
get into a
we're here.
whole different show about that because
You know, they're saying that, you know, those extraterrestrials are saying, hey, we're here,
yeah.
you're here, we're sharing this planet together. Don't mess it up.
That's what it comes down to, bottom line, Danny. Great show. Great show today. Amazing. I mean, there's so many other things that we can take off on all of this stuff. There's so many different, areas that we haven't even covered. But, it's been an hour and, 10 minutes that we've spoken about this, but we're going to have you on again. I mean, that's the only way we can do it,
Yes.
So
yes.
we'll have you on. I'm really booked out to like March, but we'll just go ahead and put you in the calendar in March again, and while we can, to get you on here so we can talk about more about this.
Well, I will have more things to talk about too.
Well,
I'm always writing theories about these UAPs.
Yeah, I know, Danny. I know. We talk about it. So, well, I'm really looking forward to you coming on again. And this was an awesome interview today. And I just want to say thank you for being my friend, because we have actually kind of become friends, because
yes,
we've talked so much about this.
We've known each other on Facebook for 5 years.
Yeah, and we've also talked, by phone or text or whatever,
yes.
and pre-interviews and all that stuff. So, you're very highly regarded as far as me and having you on the show. So we'll put you down for March. We'll get off here and we're going to say bye to everybody. Bye. Hope you enjoyed the show. Bye. We have a lot more to talk about with Danny. Say bye, Danny.
Goodbye. Thank you.